ChatGPT Projects is the feature that you've been waiting for, and most people don't even know it exists. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how you can use ChatGPT Projects for your small business. From what it is, why you should be using it, and 2 real-world examples of it being used. By the end of this video, you're going to understand the value of using ChatGPT Projects for your business. Hi, I'm Sam, a small business owner of a gourmet popcorn store and the unofficial tech support guy for my business buddies. I create videos for small business owners on how AI can help them in their business, even if they don't think it can. All right, let's jump in so you can see exactly how this new feature works and why it's going to make your business life a whole lot easier and organized when using ChatGPT. So what exactly is ChatGPT Projects? Think of it as a separate workspace in ChatGPT. You can dictate how each project will act while keeping everything related to one specific topic, like your business plan, your client's marketing campaign, or even your social media calendar, all in one place. In a project, ChatGPT remembers your files, your goals, and your conversations you had. So every time that you come back, you're not starting from scratch. So this means that you can finally separate your business work from your personal ideas, your product planning from your marketing brainstorming, and ChatGPT stays focused on the topic you're working on. I like to consider each project as the role I assign it to act like in the instructions. And if you don't understand why I assign roles, check out my video on making prompts. I will leave a link to that video in the descriptions below. All right, let's set up a ChatGPT project together. For this demo, I'm going to use 2 scenarios. One is going to be a bakery business, and the other is going to be a retail store that sells candy. Projects are available to all free and subscribed plans globally, but you must be logged into a ChatGPT account in order to use a project. You can create unlimited number of projects no matter what plan you have, but today we're only creating 2. Once you're logged into ChatGPT, if you look at your left navigation panel, you will see an icon labeled Projects. Let's click on that to get started. First, you need to decide the type of memory you want the project to have. So click the little gear icon at the top right corner. Do you want the project to have the ability to reference past chats outside the project and vice versa? This is the default setting. Or do you want the project to only reference past chats within the project and also be unavailable to chats outside the project? Both memory options have their pros and cons, but for the first project that we're going to make, we're going to go with project only. I don't want this project to be influenced by other chats within ChatGPT, nor do I want it to affect answers received by chats outside the project. This setting is essential if you work with multiple clients and want to keep their work separate from each other. You wouldn't want one client's data creeping on over to another client's work. Next, we will give the project a name. For this example, I'll call it Bakery Product Costing Project. This will hold everything from ingredient list to recipes needed to price the baked goods for the bakery business. Hit the Create Project button to create the project. Once the project has been created, you can change the icon associated with the project along with the icon color. This can help you organize your project by tasks, clients, the role they will be serving, or what other separation needs you may have. If you click the project name, you can edit the project name. If you click the gear icon, you're reminded of the memory settings you chose when making the project. As you can see, all options are grayed out because this can no longer be changed. You can add instructions for the project by clicking the 3 dots in the upper right-hand corner. Select Edit Instructions, and you're presented with an instruction window that will allow you to configure the instructions for this new project. Instructions are how you set the environment for the project. Here's where you identify such things as: what role should ChatGPT play inside the project? What rules and conditions do you want to set for this project? What tone do you want your answers to have? What format do you want your answers to be in? I'm going to paste in some instructions I previously created for this project. Now, here's where the magic happens. Inside the project, you can upload PDFs, spreadsheets, docs, images to give ChatGPT material to reference in its answers. And ChatGPT will remember them for future chats. Depending on your subscription plan, there is a limit of the number of files that can be uploaded to the project. If you're on a free plan, you're limited to 5 files only per project. If you're on a Go or Plus plan, you're limited to 25 files per project. If you have an Ed Pro Business or Enterprise plan, you're limited to 40 files per project. For this demo, I actually went to the allrecipe.com website and copied some recipes from that website and put them into a Word doc that I called Bakery Recipes. I also logged into my Sam Clubs account and created a list of bakery supplies using their list feature. The great thing about using this feature is that it not only lists the product name and cost, but it also included the quantity, which is needed for pricing. I chose to do this because I didn't have an inventory list that included prices for this demo. I'm going to do a page print and then save it as a PDF file so I can capture all the items on my list. I wish they had a way to download the list to an Excel file or something that had the same data, but they don't. So this is my workaround. I then upload each file to the project. I like to ensure that ChatGPT has parsed the documents correctly, so I ask questions about items in the document. Like, how many cake recipes do you know? And ChatGPT comes back with the correct answer, and it's also ready to price the recipes, but I'm not ready for it to do that yet. I next ask for the price of eggs. It responds with the correct price, $17.97, but it doesn't stop there. It gives me the price per dozen and per egg. Satisfied with my test, I'm now ready to ask ChatGPT some questions. For this demo, I think it's easier to price cupcake than cake slice, but I can't remember what cake recipes are in the bakery recipe book. So I asked ChatGPT, how many cupcake recipes do you know? And within a few seconds, I'm presented with a list. Also, as you can see, ChatGPT still wants to calculate the cost of the recipes. This behavior can be attributed to the instructions I configured for the project. I told ChatGPT that it's a retail pricing expert and it wants to price everything. I just want to price one recipe for this demo. So let's price the cream cheese filled cupcake recipe. After a moment or two, ChatGPT has provided me with a cost breakdown per ingredients, cost breakdown per batch, cost per cupcake, along with the suggested price I should sell each for, along with a summary of its pricing. Next, I want to test to see if the project can price a new recipe not included in the recipe book for some vanilla cupcakes that I found on the allrecipe.com website. So I'll just paste the recipe into the project, and just like the previous recipe, it had no problem doing it. And it provided me with the same type of information received for the first recipe I priced. The power of ChatGPT is more than just doing simple pricing. It's also asking thoughtful questions to help you make decisions in your business. So then I asked it, what cupcake should I make? The first one or the second one to get the most profit? ChatGPT presented me with a profit comparison between the two cupcake flavors and then gave me a profitability verdict in 4 categories: lower ingredients cost, high profit margin, customer appeal, and easiest to scale. The vanilla cupcake won 3 out of 4 categories. I then asked ChatGPT to suggest a cupcake that I could make with the current ingredients I have. It then listed all the ingredients from the list I uploaded and suggests that I make chocolate sour cream cupcake. It provided me with the recipe, cost estimate, and profit potential. Now that's the power of ChatGPT. I then asked it to tell me how many recipes it knows. It provided me with a list of 12 recipes, but that was not correct. There were 12 recipes in the recipe book, but I also uploaded a recipe, and it wasn't included in the list. I then asked ChatGPT if it remembered the recipe for vanilla cupcakes that I previously uploaded to the project, and it stated it did. This is where you have to remember the small print under the prompt area. ChatGPT can make mistakes. I asked ChatGPT, why didn't it include the vanilla cupcake recipe in its count? ChatGPT confirmed to me that it did omit the vanilla cupcake recipe in its count. Then it tried to make me feel good for catching that mistake while also explaining why it messed up. There's a lesson here. Don't be afraid to challenge responses you get back from ChatGPT. If ChatGPT is right, it's going to double down on the answer it gave you. But if it's wrong, it's going to acknowledge it and it's going to correct itself. And that's what it did in this instant. It added the recipe to the list and then proceeded to list all the recipes along with their calculations per item because it still wants to follow the instructions I created for the project. So that's one project where the memory is set to project only. Any files, conversations, or results will not be shared outside that project. Let's make another project which can be accessible by other projects in chats. And is the default memory configuration for ChatGPT Projects. Since we already went through the details of creating a project, we'll fly through creating this one. Click on Project, add a project name, ensure memory is set to default. Click Create Project button, change the icon if you want to for the project, add instructions, and pause. Now, just like the bakery demo, I don't have a wholesale list for candy to use for this demo. So just like I did for the bakery, I would create a PDF file from a website that has the information we need to use for this demo. I found the website of a candy distributor that was kind enough to have the prices of the product on its public-facing website. No need to create an account and log in to just get some prices. I selected a category of candy to view on the website, then printed the page to PDF. This page printout of the website had all the information we needed for this demo. And resume. I uploaded the candy supply list to the project. I then asked ChatGPT 2 questions to validate the files were parsed correctly. How many items were in the document? And then the price of one particular candy. Since I got that information, why not ask ChatGPT for a recommended selling price for that item? The power of ChatGPT is not calculating the selling price, it's asking thoughtful questions like, what is the most profitable candy I could sell and which one to avoid? ChatGPT responded to my question better than I expected. I was expecting ChatGPT to give me one item to sell and one item to avoid, but it gave me a couple of items to sell and a couple items to avoid, along with a quick takeaway of its analysis of my question asked. Now, this project can handle any of the questions I have related to pricing the candy I want for my store. And in theory, these chats will be available to other chats outside this project. At the time of shooting this video, this is only true for paid subscription plans. These two examples demonstrate how small business owners can leverage projects to enhance their ChatGPT experience, making it more organized, powerful, and time efficient. And the more ChatGPT learns from you, the better responses you receive. Just think, you can have projects helping you with pricing products, handling customer interactions, marketing, brainstorming business ideas, and making hard business decisions using logic gained from previous chats. And if you'd like to know what projects I recommend that all small business owners should create, take a look at my next video related to small business ChatGPT projects. If you found this video helpful, consider hitting that like button and subscribe. This is just the beginning of how I'll show you as a small business owner of how you can use AI to help your business, even if you don't think it can. I pride myself on using real world examples because I have a business and so do my buddies. And many of the videos that I'm creating is because of solutions that I helped them come up with for their business.